Excellent. Well, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you have joined us here, especially on a Thursday night. We're going to just wait a couple more minutes for more people to hop on. So just sit back and relax, and we'll get started very shortly. Thank you again for joining us. All right, for anyone that might have just joined, we're going to get started here in about a minute. So just want to first of all say thank you for joining us this evening. We're so thrilled you're here with us. And we'll get started in just about a minute. So you can just sit back and relax, and then we'll officially bring some joy into your evening. Okay, well, we are 3 minutes past the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. I think a few more folks will probably make their way in. So just want to say, first of all, welcome to the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund virtual fundraising event. This is absolutely my favorite event of the year during my favorite time of the year. So really I'm here for a treat. So before we get started, I'm going to start us off on the right note in every sense of the phrase with a cute performance from the Callier Center, which is a program here in Dallas, Texas, where I am currently living and where I went to school. And I'll tell more about it. But these preschoolers, they've been practicing for the last couple of months just for this event. So excited to share this song, Winter Wonderland. Oh, sorry about that. I pushed the wrong button. There we go. Aren't they just so stinking cute? Love it. So thank you, Callier Center, for a wonderful performance. So again, welcome officially to the JLCIF virtual fundraising event. Before we get fully into the program, just want to give a few housekeeping items to maximize your virtual experience here tonight. Everyone has been placed on mute, so there are no competing sounds in the background. If you have by chance joined from different audio sources, we encourage you to try to join from one same source to help minimize any echoing or technical challenges with the audio. We also have the Zoom chat feature. We would love to hear from you. So if you'd like to say happy holidays or give a shout out to anyone that you see on here, please feel free to use the chat box. We would love to hear from you. And of course, if you have any questions at any point, we have a couple of our board members watching the chat box who can help answer your questions. Also, this is captioned thanks to the Zoom feature. So if you would like to see subtitles, please click on that CC icon at the bottom of your screen and enable those subtitles. You can also adjust settings if you need to increase the font size or the color to make it easier for you to read. And last but certainly not least, this is being recorded. because we know we have people and supporters from all corners of the world. So for some, it's really late in the evening or morning. For some, it's just starting the evening. So we have a lot of people that like to come back and watch the recording. So this event is being recorded. And of course, for those who would like to re-listen to the inspiring keynote or the videos, you will also have access to that recording. We're also all over social media. It is the brave new world of the 21st century. So we love to help stay connected, especially with our donors who help further our mission and also want you to see firsthand the impact that your donations and that your support has on the cochlear implant community. So we encourage you, if you're not already, get connected with us on social media by accessing these URLs or simply searching JLCIF in Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And we're also on Instagram. And of course, we encourage you to take pictures, take selfies of your holiday attire joining this event, and tag us by using the hashtag JLCIF. We would love to see your fun, festive pictures as you participate in this event. Now, it is my great honor to introduce the Dream Team. I am extremely fortunate to work with every single one of these individuals here that you see on the screen. Of course, none of this would be possible without our incredible, amazing leader, Angela Irwin. She is the executive director and also founded the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund when she recognized that there was a need that was not met across the country and even beyond the country. And so she came up with this wonderful idea to bring together Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund. And you'll get to hear her session here in just a minute, how we came to be and what we do. I'm Michael Noble. I have the great honor of being the president. I actually started out as the secretary and then worked my way up to president. And it's just been a phenomenal thing to be a part of since 2020. And just a little bit about me, I originally worked at Cochlear, the very manufacturer of my cochlear implant. I was born deaf, received the implant at the age of 2. Then I went on to Medtronic for just under 7 years and currently serve as a vice president of global marketing at another medical device company based out of Sweden. And next we have Kim Cooper, our amazing treasurer, also one of our original board members since 2020. She is currently on a plane ride, actually from Chicago back to her home in Ohio. And a little bit about Kim Cooper. She is the senior manager of clinical education for U.S. Medical Affairs organization within the Becton Dickinson, or sometimes known as BD, peripheral intervention business. And she travels all the time, all across the country. And we are so fortunate to have her on the team. Next, we have Nikki Wolin. She is the secretary of our board. And Nikki is she brings a wealth of experience as a senior global human resources leader with a proven track record of driving strategic initiatives and fostering inclusive environments. And also, just as importantly, she is a parent of a child with cochlear implants. So she intimately understands the profound impact and value of this life-changing technology. And a little fun fact, Nikki and I worked together for a few years while I was at Cochlear. So it's nice to come full circle here on the board. Next, we have Jody Cutler. And Jody's been on the board with us for a number of years now, and we are so thrilled to keep her on the board. She has extensive experience fighting for information, access, and improvements for children with hearing loss, deafness, cochlear implants, and their families. She's a co-founder of the Global Coalition of Parents of Children Who Are Deaf and Hard of Hearing, member of the World Health Organization's World Hearing Forum. She also participated in the creation of the audiological network of the Italian Federation of Pediatricians. She is currently a producer of Rally Caps, a movie based on the novel of the same name she co-authored with her father, Stephen Cutler. So she first knows the impact of cochlear implant technology as she is a proud mother, rightfully so, of a son with bilateral cochlear implants. And if you haven't watched her movie, Rally Caps, or read her book, I highly, highly encourage you to do so. And that movie has made its way around. I travel a lot internationally, and I even see that film on the onboard entertainment. So it's everywhere. Definitely encourage you to check it out. And last but certainly not least, we have our newest board member, Maeve Brown. She is one of our most esteemed supporters, been with us really since day one. She has been with Cochlear for over 25 years and counting, serving in many different roles, helping cochlear implant candidates and recipients to have access to sound. Her passion and commitment really sets Maeve apart. Both JLCIF and Cochlear are extremely fortunate to have her extensive expertise and dedication to helping cochlear implant candidates and recipients. And I firsthand am one of those people since 2000, thanks to Maeve. So, as you guys know, we are here for a reason. There are tons of recipients that rely on us for support, and your donations help us support them to have access to hearing. And so if you haven't made a donation, or if you feel inspired, encourage you to make any additional donations, you can scan this QR code and I'll take you straight to our Give Butter link where you can make that donation. And we'll flash the same QR code a couple more times throughout the event. But also just came in, had I jot this one down, we have a new matching opportunity for an additional $500 in this next hour for those who donate in the next hour, thanks to Katie Petruzziello. She is the author of the Mighty Mila books. If you attended one of our previous events, she was a keynote speaker for us as well. And if you haven't read her book, it features a main character with cochlear implants. It is the cutest book with an inspiring, very, very good message. So definitely check it out. It is available from online retailers like Amazon. Now, I will be quiet and turn it over to someone that you want to hear even more from. And that is Angela Irwin. She is our executive director. And without her, we would not be where we are. And she has made an incredible impact. She is definitely one of my most inspiring people that I had the privilege to work alongside with. So, Angela, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Oh my goodness. What an introduction. Thank you so much, Michael. Welcome, everybody. We are so thankful to have you all here, whether you're joining us live or you'll watch this on the recording. We know that life is crazy busy these days, and so we truly appreciate you making the time to be here for this event and to support JLCIF's mission. Um, we are celebrating 5 years, which is so hard to believe. And I would like to give a shout out to those of you who have been supporting us and encouraging us from day one. We are so fortunate to have many supporters who have been with us for this duration as we figured out how to do what we're doing. So we really thank you for that. It just means more than words can express. So I will make mention that it is after midnight for me here in France. So if I, struggle to find a word or two, that is why. Um, but I often get asked why I started a nonprofit organization to help people in a country that I no longer live in. And the short answer to that question is simply because I do not want anyone to lose their hearing for a second time simply because they cannot afford the upkeep of these amazing devices. It's traumatic enough losing your hearing the first time, and we go through surgery, we go through listening therapy. Many people go through, um, you know, learning how to speak, years and years and years of speech therapy. So there's a tremendous amount of time and effort that goes into being able to hear with these devices. And so the idea that someone would lose their hearing a second time just because they couldn't afford it is just heartbreaking, and it absolutely should not be happening. And I'm very grateful that my French national healthcare covers the cost of my ongoing upkeep. So what's really interesting is that in the US, most insurance companies and Medicare and Medicaid will cover the original cost of the surgery. So the big cost they pay for. But those very same insurance companies may not pay for the ongoing cost, which makes really no sense at all. Next slide, please. So the little girl here, don't let the little girl smile fool you. Behind that smile is actually someone who was fearful and wondering what in the world was going to happen to her as she was losing her hearing, and wondering if she would have a future at all, to be honest. And I would not have been able to lead the life that I have led without this amazing technology. So I've lived and worked on 3 continents, including working for Cochlear in the US office in Denver, as well as their headquarters in Sydney, Australia. And that is how I've been able to meet so many amazing cochlear implant recipients around the world. These devices have completely, not only for me, but for hundreds of thousands of other cochlear implant recipients, um, giving us a second lease on life. But however, when any part of these amazing technology pieces, like the battery or the cable coil or the main computer itself, when any part of the external device stopped working, sound disappears immediately for us. And so that has an impact on our safety, on employment, on our schooling, on communication, and just general connection in life. So it really does, we set up our whole lives around being able to be part of the hearing world. And if one component goes out, that changes the game completely, and we are back to being deaf 100% of the time. So when I moved to France in 2010, I started to send my spare parts back to my friends in the US whenever I got an upgrade, thanks to my French health insurance. And when COVID hit, like Michael mentioned, I was just thinking there's going to be more need than ever. And so that really is the genesis of how Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund came to be. So next slide, please. So we believe that a person's ability to hear should not depend on their ability to pay. So that's really what we're here. That's really what we're doing is we come together to help the uninsured and underinsured cochlear implant recipients be able to maintain stable hearing continue to thrive in the lives that they have set up around this amazing technology. Next slide, please. So we have 2 main programs. So as I've described, the product program is our main focus. So it just, as we say, keeping people on the air, that's the most important part because as I described, we don't want people to lose their hearing a second time and not be able to continue to participate in their daily lives. But we also have confidence coaching. So we'll be celebrating 29 years of hearing with my cochlear implants in May. But I also had 15 years. I lost my hearing over the course of 15 years, starting at the age of 7. So I have a lot of lived experience and I'm a confidence coach. And so I thought, why not bring that into what we're doing here at Joyful Life? Um, Basically, I want to be the person for other people that I wish I had had when I was going through that. I wish that I had had the confidence to self-advocate for myself. I wish I had known how to ask for what I needed. I wish I had known not to be so embarrassed about having hearing loss and living life with hearing loss and navigating cochlear implants. I think a misconception around cochlear implants, if people know about them at all, is that when you get it, that you just have normal hearing and that's it. And that unfortunately is not the case. It's absolutely amazing as this technology is. It is not a cure, it is not normal hearing, and we still day to day are living with hearing loss, deafness, navigating technology, and I know Elena is going to speak more about this in her talk, which I'm super excited about. But there is work that has to happen on a daily basis, and there's the emotional side of it as well. So that's what we want to also help cochlear implant recipients with is navigating all of those components. We do operate on batteries, which is kind of a funny joke. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of bit of emotional roller coaster that goes along with this, and every day is not easy. And so it's just helpful knowing that you're not alone in this. So next slide, please. So we know that there's no shortage of amazing organizations that you could support. And so I just want to highlight a few of the ways that we are unique. And one of the big ways I think is that we are super lean. We don't have any paid employees. We're all with our amazing board members doing the heavy lifting, and they're all so committed and fabulous, helping us raise money and help to, support our cochlear implant recipients across the US. Um, we also have special pricing with two of the largest cochlear implant manufacturers in the world, so Cochlear Americas and Advanced Bionics. We're so grateful to them for allowing that to happen because that really does let us stretch our donor dollars as far as possible. And the other thing too is that any of the applicants that come through for request, they have had to exhaust all other options for funding. So if there's state programs, if there's any other methods, obviously have applied through their insurance. Like I mentioned earlier, there's unfortunately a lot of insurance will deny the ongoing cost, but we do require them to have gone through all the process. So when they come to us, it's really like the last resort. So all that stands between them being 100% deaf again is this organization and our amazing donors. So it really is a last resort. So it's can be challenging at times because we are trying to help as many people as we can. And for that reason, we do require that our applicants, the people that we help, they do make a contribution themselves as well. So Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund, we pay for 80% of the cost. And again, that is a special reduced rate that we've negotiated with the cochlear implant manufacturers. But we do require the applicants and their families to contribute 20%. And this, in turn, allows us to help even more people. And so while our numbers may be small for the people that we've helped, our impact is significant because being able to or not being able to hear with the cochlear implant not only impacts the person themselves, but everyone who is around them. And so our impact is quite vast. And in that spirit, we want to now take a look back at the 5 years of recipients that we've been able to help.
Amazing. And thank you so much, Angela, for all that you do. I mean, if it weren't for you, we would not be here today. And all of those recipients would not have access to sound. And so, first of all, I want to say thank you, Angela. And then, of course, thank you to our ongoing supporters. Because of you, we were able to help all of those people over the last 5 years, and we don't plan on stopping. We want to continue this for at least another 5 years and beyond. So with that, I want to share another performance from Callier UTD, the Callier Center, with our preschoolers, and they're going to sing another great holiday classic, Jingle Bells.
Laughing
Oh, so cute. We might have some future performers, so we will have to watch these kiddos for the next 16, 18 years because we might see them performing at, let's say, the Rockefeller Center in New York. But want to give my personal deepest gratitude to the Callier Center. Not only have they helped me to get to where I am today, but also playing a wonderful part in the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund. So as you see this photo, yes, that blonde kid is me. I have changed quite a bit since then. But just to kind of share my personal connection and why hearing this group of performers is so special to me. So as I mentioned earlier, I was born profoundly deaf, and this was at a time before there was really any kids receiving cochlear implants. It was not FDA approved at all at the time of my diagnosis. And so in 1991, yes, that long ago, the cochlear implant program was created as a collaboration between the Callier Center, where you just saw those two videos, UT Southwestern Medical Center, and Children's Medical Center. And I had the great privilege of being their very first pediatric recipient in this cochlear implant program. And even at that time, my parents were told that I would only hear environmental sounds. I would not necessarily develop full speech or even understand speech. Well, here I am emceeing this event, and it's quite an honor to be here this evening as your MC. And so I know firsthand the direct impact cochlear implant technologies can have and everything that goes around to keep it going. And that's exactly where this Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund really plays an important role for those recipients that you just saw in the previous video. So just to kind of check in, as I promised, I would share this QR code. Of course, we are trying to raise as much as we can because we really want to help all of those recipients who are coming to us, as Angela mentioned, as a last resort. And this is happening more frequently than we'd like to see. So if you have it, would like to consider another donation, this is a QR code. And don't let it stop with you. Feel free to share this with your network, your loved ones, your friends and family, because no donation is too small. Every dollar counts, and we absolutely will stretch every dollar that we get through these discount programs that we have with cochlear implant manufacturers, as Angela mentioned. So with that, I am going to now turn it over to this part that I've been looking forward to for several months since Elena so graciously offered to be our keynote speaker. So we're incredibly thankful to have Elena. So a little bit about Elena. She is the morning traffic anchor and news anchor for Pittsburgh Action News 4, hence her incredible professional headshot with the Action News 4 logo. She joined WTAE in 2015 as a digital content creator for 412. After a reporting and anchoring stint at a television station in Erie, Elena returned to WTAE to a general assignment reporting role in 2018. At the age of 4, Elena lost 100% of her hearing in both ears to bacterial meningitis. After receiving a cochlear implant and spending years rehabilitating her listening and spoken language skills, Elena now excels in speech. In her spare time, she serves as mistress of ceremonies for fundraising galas nationwide and as an ambassador and board member to numerous nonprofit organizations. As you can tell, she has a giving heart. Elena was crowned Miss Pennsylvania USA in 2016 and competed in the nationally televised Miss USA pageant. Her greatest passions include mentoring young women as a pageant coach, traveling, and spending time with her husband, daughter, family, and friends. So now it is my great honor to turn it over to Elena LaQuatra, who will share her keynote, Living Between Worlds, My Deaf Speaking Hearing Life. Elena, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I am so very honored to be with all of you on this Thursday evening. I can't promise that I'm going to be as cute as all the kids singing Christmas carols, but I will do my best to give a speech that is empowering and impactful. Really, really happy to join in with you guys this evening. I just learned so much about the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund. I did hear a little bit from Michael and Angela when they initially reached out to tell me about this event and asked me to be the keynote speaker. But just hearing from you, Angela, and you, Michael, and your stories and how the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund came to be is so inspiring to me. And as a cochlear implant user, there have been you probably hear my daughter in the background. She'll make a cameo at some point, I'm sure, before her bedtime. But as a cochlear implant user, so many times in my life, I have found myself in a spot where my cochlear implant just broke on me. It just died on me. And I have a particularly interesting and intriguing story about one time where it was just very bad that my implant died. And it turned out to be okay in the end, but I'll share that story with you all. But I know how expensive, obviously, the cochlear implants and all the pieces are. And to have an organization like this that is helping not just children, but adults too, who cannot afford to keep their hearing turned on and keep them on air, I love that expression, is so important. So, Angela, you're wonderful and amazing. And that's just incredible that you founded this organization and you are making a difference in the lives of all those people you showed on video here that you have helped. Just to introduce myself a little bit beyond the bio that Michael just read to you. My name is Elena. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born and raised here. And I lost my hearing when I was 4 years old to bacterial meningitis. Right after my 4th birthday, about a week after I turned 4, I came down with meningitis. I was misdiagnosed twice before finally it was my pediatrician in the middle of the night who agreed to meet my parents at the office, 3 a.m, because my mom had that, motherly instinct that something wasn't right. And it was just, I kept getting misdiagnosed with an ear infection. And my mom begged the pediatrician to meet her in the middle of the night. She did. And the pediatrician said, I'm calling an ambulance to the office. You're not going to make it to the hospital in time. So I was rushed to the hospital. At that point, for the 3rd time in the hospital within about a 10-day span, I was finally diagnosed with meningitis. And I had lost all my hearing at that point. Because of how meningitis, I don't know if anyone else here lost their hearing from meningitis, but it affects your vestibular system. So I also lost all of my balance in addition to my hearing. And that was a very, very difficult period for my parents and my older sister, Isabella. And my parents did not even know another deaf person. So they were completely clueless about the world of sign language, cochlear implants. They had no clue about this technology. This was way back in 1996, early 1996. So I'm coming up on almost 30 years of having my implant. But they were very clueless. Luckily, in Pittsburgh, if you know anything about the city, you might initially think it's a steel town, and that may have been true decades and decades ago. But actually, nowadays, Pittsburgh is very much known for medical research, medical breakthroughs. We have UPMC, we have Allegheny Health Network, we have incredible organizations here that have advanced medical technologies. And part of that was, of course, the cochlear implant. We had this wonderful surgeon, Dr. Callier. And not only that, we also had the Oral Deaf School, DePaul School for Hearing and Speech. One of a few dozen in the country, happened to be right in our backyard. So after I had lost my hearing and doctors and experts and specialists came to talk with my parents, they said, you can put her in the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf, and they teach sign language, and she will be deaf and, not have hearing any longer. Or you can try this new cochlear implant technology. It's really new. There's not been many surgeries in Pittsburgh, let alone a child, but we have a great surgeon here, Dr. Callier, and he can do the surgery, and you cross your fingers and hope it works for her. My surgery initially failed in my right ear. My parents chose that path. I was a very rambunctious, outgoing little girl my whole life. I was, in dance class and musical theater and performing since I was like a year and a half, and my daughter definitely takes after me. So they knew I would be happiest in a hearing world. And so they took the risk and chose the cochlear implant route. And the first surgery, unfortunately, failed. And they were very disheartened by that. But the Dr. Callier, insured them. It failed because of the meningitis and because my cochlea had ossified on that side. It had hardened. And so he said, if we move quickly, we can take it out of the right ear, bandage her up, flip her over on the operating table, and then try her left ear. And my parents were kind of just like, at this point, we've come this far. Let's do it. And it was very much a blessing in disguise. So that's exactly what they did. I healed from that surgery. They put the technology on my ear once I recovered from it, and I heard perfectly. And at just 4 years old, I so quickly overcame all the speech that I had lost. I was back to being my talkative little self. At that point, I had been enrolled at the DePaul School for Hearing and Speech. So I had already started learning those listening and spoken language skills. And very much like Angela was talking about, I was also learning the skills at DePaul to improve my confidence, to learn how to talk to others about living with a disability, how to advocate for my needs, how to go up to a teacher at 5, 6 years old and tell them, I can't hear because you put me in the back of the classroom. I need to sit closer to the front. And that those lessons that I learned at DePaul were truly invaluable. I mean, I'm a board member now. I MC their gala every year. I am so heavily involved in the school still all these years later because they changed my life. And I wouldn't be where I am without the wonderful teachers and the staff. And, I owe so much to that school. So I'm so heavily involved, but they did teach me all the important things I needed to know as a young deaf girl. I was there for a little under 4 years, and then I mainstreamed into my public school. And I was phenomenal at advocating for myself and phenomenal at letting others know what I needed. My batteries died. I need to change them. Giving the microphone to the teachers. And I had a little speaker that I had at my desk. It was part of my IEP plan when I mainstreamed into a regular school. And I very much credit DePaul for how comfortable I was when I made that transition. I moved through my schooling years, getting back involved in all the things I loved before I lost my hearing: dancing, singing, acting. Once I was, into my teenage years, we learned it was no longer cute for me to sing off key. And I realized that was just not one of my God-given natural talents. So I stopped with the singing, but I picked up other hobbies. I got involved in the percussion ensemble at my high school, and I learned how to play all the percussion instruments, the drum set. I had a purple sparkly drum set in my room. So I was very musical. I also was a part of the dance company at my school. And then I started competing in pageants. And that was another opportunity for me to share my story with others, advocate for those who live with disabilities, and hopefully inspire people who are struggling to overcome adversity in their lives, whatever that might be, whether it is a disability like myself or any other type of adversity. So pageants became my outlet at that point. And I had this platform and this crown and sash where I could talk to others. And I had a voice that people wanted to listen to because I was a title holder. And that was a really cool experience. I held a couple titles as a teenager: Miss Pennsylvania Teen USA and Miss Pennsylvania's Outstanding Teen. I placed well at national pageants and won a lot of scholarship money for school, which was nice. And then by the time I decided to, by the time I graduated high school, I decided to pursue a career and study broadcast journalism in college. And I went to Point Park University, which is a school in downtown Pittsburgh. They have a phenomenal broadcast program. I knew this was my path because I love to talk, if you can't tell. And I met many of Pittsburgh's news anchors while I was at these events as a title holder, a pageant title holder. And they all encouraged me to pursue this career path. And I remember my mom saying, and my mom and dad both, always my number one supporters, never let me use my disability as an excuse to get out of anything. They never coddled me in any way because of my disability. Like, they really kind of threw me out into the world and said, you're no different from anyone else, figure it out. And I give them so much credit for that because I definitely do not expect any exceptions because of my hearing loss. And I'm very grateful for that. But my mom, I remember her saying, Elena, as a news anchor, you need 2 skills. You need to be able to listen and you need to be able to talk. And those 2 skills, you're very good at them now, but they're precarious for you with your implant. Like, you might run into problems. Your technology might die. You're only, at the time, 18 years old when I was graduating high school. Like, hopefully your implant technology will last through the entirety of your life. But I was like, you know what, Mom, I really feel this is my calling. I really feel this is what I'm meant to do. And any challenges I face in this career, I'll find a way to overcome them. And she's like, all right, broadcast it is. Go be a news anchor. And so I went to college. I got my degree in broadcast journalism. I had a short stint at my current station, WTAE, in their digital department right out of college. And then my the program ended. It was a 1.5 year long program. And my boss at the time said, you got to go to a small market, you got to go to a small town and get some reporting experience and get a couple years under your belt. And we'll bring you back home to Pittsburgh and hire you back at WTAE. And he kept his promise. Moved to Erie, Pennsylvania for a couple years, which is like the snow belt of America. It feels like. My husband's from there. And so I lived in Erie. I worked in Erie for 2 years, ended up getting hired back at WTAE a little less than 2 years later, and then worked my way up the ranks there as a reporter. And now I'm the traffic and noon anchor, and hopefully one day I'll be a main anchor at the station. But I have had so many interesting experiences in my industry in particular because of my hearing loss. And what I have been so blessed by is that I have had colleagues around me who have helped me, and managers who have helped me through any challenges. And I realized these on day one. I got sent to a fire. There's these loud fire trucks all around me. I am standing there with a microphone in my and a camera in my face. And I'm called into, we call it programming, basically like the show. And it's the way for our producers to talk to us while we're out on scene. And I'm called into programming and I'm waiting for my producer's cue and I can't hear anything but these fire trucks. I hear nothing but this loud noise all around me. And I'm just standing there like with my microphone. And my photographer, I think, realized she's getting cued right now to go. It's her turn to talk and she can't hear them. And I didn't even know this guy yet. He ended up being one of my favorite people, Tim Lowell. He retired, but he was a wonderful photographer. And so he cued me. He visually cued me and said, go. And so I went and did my report. He said, you couldn't hear them cueing you, could you? And I said, no, it's so loud. And I kind of like was mad at myself in that moment because I spent my whole life advocating for myself and what I needed. And I should have known that I was not going to be able to hear my producer cueing me. And I did it. And I'm like, why didn't I do that? But he had my back. He saved me. I didn't make a total fool of myself that day. But it was then and there that I was like, okay, I'm going to face challenges being in a big market like Pittsburgh that I did not face in the small town of Erie because I wasn't on scene in that way. The stories I was doing and the work I was doing was much different from what was expected of me in Pittsburgh. So I kind of vowed to myself in that moment, I'm going to work with my photographers. I'm going to talk with my managers, and whatever I feel like I need to succeed in this career, despite my disability, I'm going to ask for, and I'm not going to be shy about it. And I did just that. And there's been so many stories through the 7 years now that I've been in the news industry that I've had to do that. But I wanted to share the story in particular of when my cochlear implant died on me. I'm the noon news anchor for the station. So I am solo anchoring. It's just me on the desk anchoring the news from noon until 1 o'clock every day. We were about 5 minutes. Excuse me. I'm overcoming a little sickness from the last couple weeks. It's like the season for sickness right now. I was 5 minutes into the noon newscast and my implant stopped. And it immediately, I'm like, my batteries died. And cochlear implant users, you can just change those batteries in like 30 seconds. I use the disposable ones. So I was like, I just got to change my batteries on the commercial break. No big deal. So I got through the last couple stories. And then I grabbed the batteries, I changed them, did the little thing, put it back on, and it's not working. And I had a floor director in front of me who was operating the cameras and telling me where to go. And I said, Josh, it's not working. Wait, I think these are bad batteries. I got to put another pair in. A commercial break's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds, by the way. Change the batteries a second time, put it back on. I'm like, oh, Josh, it's still not working. And he's like, we're back on the air in about 45 seconds. And I was like, okay. And I'm like mouthing to him. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to talk. Just guide me, direct me. I'm going to watch you. I'm just going to read the teleprompter. Like we're winging this. We are winging this whole thing. By about 10 minutes into the newscast, 10 minutes further into it, when it got word to my managers and the other anchors that I was anchoring this newscast completely deaf. So they all started coming into the studio and they're like, are you okay? Do you need anything? And they're like mouthing to me. The one like had a sign. He's like, do you need someone to take your spot? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm going to get through it. And I ended up anchoring that whole hour-long newscast completely deaf. And my team guided me every step of the way. When I started talking too fast because I couldn't hear myself, I started going really, really fast as I was reading the teleprompter. And I was like, like just running through it. They're like, slow down, slow down. And then I guess at one point I started talking a little bit quieter because again, I couldn't hear myself. And Josh was like, talk louder, your volume's going down. But I was just amazed how so many people were coming into the studio to ask me if I needed help, if I needed anything, how they can help me in that moment so I could get through this hour-long newscast completely deaf. And then, of course, once I got through that, it was like, what's wrong with my implant now? Because now I can't hear. I have a job that requires me to hear. Oh no, what now? And the wonderful cochlear implant community of Pittsburgh all jumped in. It was a Friday too, so leading into the weekend, they all jumped in to help get me a replacement cochlear implant because stupid me did not have a spare. So they all jumped in to get me the spare cochlear implant, the parts that I needed. Michael, like you, I'm sure like you, I'm a 22 user internally, Nucleus 22. So I got the old parts, and it's very hard to find the external parts for the old internal technology. So it was really a team effort of people helping me so that I could get a working implant through the weekend. And then for weeks on end, trying to get a new implant, make sure I had the right parts, get it mapped and programmed, get used to it. And I know so many of you have dealt with this, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was for sure a debacle. But I was so grateful for my team in that moment. And I realized that with the help of others and with the support of others, it really is possible to overcome these types of challenges that you might face in your life as someone who is deaf and uses a cochlear implant. But that's just the story I like to tell because people don't believe that it really happened, but it did really happen. And I hope it doesn't happen again because it was chaos that I don't wish to repeat in my life. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me and my life. I'm grateful for the opportunities I've had in my life. I'm especially grateful for the cochlear implant technology. Like so many of you, it's miraculous, it's wonderful. But Angela, like you said, it's not just a cure-all. It's not just you pop it on and that's the end of it. It needs programmed and updated. The parts die and break. You need to replace them. You need to upgrade. It's an ongoing process for sure. So it's wonderful that the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund is there to support cochlear implant users, especially when there are money constraints and they might not be able to afford those upgrades. So again, thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here with you all this evening. And at the end, in the next 10 minutes or so, I'd love to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Elena. I always love hearing you speak, and that was so inspiring. And thank you so much for also being a little vulnerable there too, to share all of those sort of emotions and what goes behind being a cochlear implant recipient. Obviously, it resonated very, very highly with me. So thank you again for sharing that story and inspiring all of us. And of course, you've inspired, I'm sure, tons of people that you help serve in your community. So thank you for being such a pioneer in the cochlear implant community.
Absolutely. It's my honor.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and return back to the slide deck here. Hopefully it's now appearing for everyone. So yeah, so we're in the home stretch here. And I just want to kind of reinforce the why we're here. So there's 5 particular individuals that were specifically raising funds with this particular program. And as you can see on the screen, we have Linda in Texas, Tia in Michigan, Ricky in Tennessee, Jeffrey in Virginia, and Christina in Alabama. And each of these individuals, as Angela mentioned, they have exhausted all basically options, whether it's through their insurance, trying to find out-of-pocket coverage, all of these things. So they've really come to us as a last resort because either they have batteries or they have broken cables or coils or things like that. And when one component goes out, they don't hear anything, just like Elena shared in her personal experience. And this can impact their jobs and their daily living. And so that's why we're here. We want to help them stay connected to their jobs, their loved ones, their family, friends, you name it. So we thank you again for all that you do to help us with that. So I just kind of squeezed this slide right in at the last minute because we have some very exciting news that I want to do a special thank you to. So Mary Kay Miller, who we like to call the retired voice of Cochlear America, made the final balance fulfilled that we needed to help those 5 cochlear implant recipients. And I just want to say thank you so much, Mary Kay Miller. And for those of you who may not know Mary Kay Miller, she is basically the face and the voice of Cochlear America's anytime somebody would come to the office physically or just make a phone call, usually she was the first smile or gentle voice that you would either see or hear. And when I first started, my very first day as a nervous kindergartner like intern at the age of 21 at Cochlear, she was the first person that I got greeted by. And she just put me at ease because she's such a warm, wonderful soul. So I just want to say thank you again to Mary Kay Miller for helping us reach our fundraising goal. Now, with that, I want to say thank you again. I know we're kind of towards the tail end of our program here, but if you need to go, we want to thank you again and hope you stay connected. But for those who would like to stay on, we're going to move into Q&A with Elena, facilitated by our one and only amazing board member, Jody. So Jody, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Elena, I have to tell you that, first of all, your presentation was mind-blowing, and I've been following you for many years. I followed when you were proposed to. I followed, is his name Jordan?
Jordan.
Is that his name? Okay, because my son's name's Jordan, and so I remembered that. I followed you when you were in the snow in Erie, and like live with snow. I and to hear you speak in person, you are exactly the way you are on Facebook. And I can't tell you how important it is for families and what you exude, especially for parents of children with cochlear implants. You are, in addition to being beautiful, you are so warm and just incredible. And I'm curious to know if you mentor anyone with cochlear implants, and if you have had other parents tell you how important it is to have representation in your field.
You're so sweet, Jody. You just made my entire week. I swear that is the nicest thing. Thank you so much for that.
So true.
Yes, I do. So I still, like I said, I'm very involved with DePaul. So I often will go to the school a couple times a year, a school year, visit with the kids, talk to them. As they're a little bit older, they end up following me on social media, talking with me all the time. So I have a lot of friends that I talk with over social media who are former students of DePaul. And I'm always happy to give them advice, even if it's minor things, or even if they just, reach out about something totally unrelated to deafness. I always love talking with the kids. I call them kids, even though a lot of them are now teenagers and even, college age. But I do mentor kids in that way. Not deaf children, but I also do my pageant coaching. So I do that a lot. That is a big part of my life. And a lot of the young girls that I work with, I've just had a couple actually who have had or have had deafness, but I do have several who live with other types of disabilities or autoimmune conditions or have some type of adversity they faced in their lives. I think pageantry attracts young women or young girls who have gone through something like that because, again, it kind of gives them that platform to share their experiences and be inspiration to others. So I do often work with girls. I probably have had about 250 to 300 clients through I think I've been doing it 14 years now, coaching. So I love that. That is such a big even more so than my career as a news anchor. I would say the coaching is a huge passion of mine. And Angela, it seems you do something very similar with the confidence coaching. So I'm sure you can relate. It is just so heartwarming to be that kind of role in someone else's life. And I do feel it's so important for parents to see representation of individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing, not just in my industry, but really any industry. And I know my parents back when I lost my hearing before the days of Google and the internet and, all the resources we have now, they were very worried. Like, what does our daughter's life look like? What does this mean that she's deaf and she has a cochlear implant? And how's she going to be limited in her life? So now that with social media and the internet and all these things, there is a way to get messages out to those parents who are probably in the same mindset that my parents were in 30 years ago. I do what I can to be that voice for parents and for others who might be going through something like this, because I think it's so reassuring to hear that. And as a parent myself now, I know if my daughter was faced with something that I had no clue about and it was a whole new world and I was so worried for her, hearing from other parents would probably be the one thing that would reassure me.
That's amazing. It's so hard it's hard for me to ask the questions that I was thinking because they use the word disability, and you've transformed hearing loss into this superpower and just how you speak. And it's, you know, that some people don't see it as a superpower and they see it as a very big disadvantage, especially parents who are grappling with feelings of guilt that they may have caused the hearing loss for their children. How has there ever been a time where your hearing loss has actually been an advantage to you? I know sometimes, I know you live between silence and sound as much as you're so obviously in the hearing world. Are there times when you're happy that you have both options?
Oh, I have a baby, Jody. Yes. Because guess who gets up with the baby at night? My husband. Yes. No, there's definitely advantages to being deaf, and I'm proud to tell people that as well. It's so strange because I think I've lived like this my whole life, 30 years now. I'm going to be 34 next month. So I really don't remember what it was like to have my quote unquote normal hearing before I got meningitis. But there are so many times where I'm like, oh, it's so nice to take my implant off at night when I go to bed, when I need time to just decompress, in the morning when I'm getting ready and I'm just like overstimulated and tired and I'm just not ready to put my implant on yet. And it's those little things that I think I just take for granted. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to tune out now. And I take it off. So there are, those kind of, I don't want to call them funny advantages to being deaf, but they kind of are funny when you think about it. Like, oh, I don't really want to listen to the baby cry, so I'm just gonna take it off. So I do think there's benefits. I'm so blessed to live in the hearing world. I think, and I would love to learn sign language for sure. I just don't know that I would have lived the life that I'm living now if my parents hadn't chose the cochlear implant technology. I mean, I can't imagine I'd be a news anchor if I couldn't talk. I can't imagine I would have, performed in musicals and done pageantry and all the things I've done in my life. I couldn't have done them if I didn't have hearing. So I feel very blessed to be in the hearing world and for this technology to exist. But certainly there are advantages to being able to live in both worlds.
I I can't imagine you not speaking. Like you're
Yeah.
so eloquent and it's such a part of your personality. It's impossible to imagine that you wouldn't be speaking.
Yeah.
It's interesting the year because my son was born in 1996 when you received your cochlear implant, and you're one of the pioneers. So it's your parents were very brave to make that choice. I understand why they made it, but that situation that you talked about and doing the left side, kudos to your parents and for I know it couldn't have been easy them saying to you, you need to basically act and react as if you did not have hearing loss.
Hmm.
And that obviously fortified your character. So since you obviously have that voice, when you made the transition from university to job and you talked about your internships and you talked about everything, what was the most important thing you did to advocate for yourself within the newsroom? I I can't imagine, like that was a very difficult situation. As much experience as you had in pageants, it was a difficult transition. What did you do to make that smooth?
Well, I think, I don't think it was a secret to my employers and news director of my first job or WTAE, my station now, when I was applying, because I was, a little bit of like a local public figure. And so everyone kind of knew like who I was. There were articles, and you Google me and there's like 95,000 pages of stuff that comes up. So, my hearing loss was never something that I had to like find an opportunity to bring up and have that discussion. Everyone kind of knew. So I didn't have to deal with that so much. But as far as like what accommodations I was going to need, I was told right off the bat, like whatever you need to help you out, you just let us know. And I didn't really, and this might come from me doing so well with my implant and not really needing many accommodations through my life that I didn't really think too much in advance. But I kind of waited for something to go wrong to say, okay, this isn't going to work for me. I need some help with this. So I kind of don't advise that to people. I would say probably figure out what challenges you anticipate facing in a career path or, whatever you're pursuing, and try to navigate that in advance so you don't run into issues like I did. But there were challenges for sure. And like I said, I was just very glad that I had people who were so willing to work with me and help me out. And, I think I'm spoiled in that way in my career and with my company, because I know that's not the case for every person and every company. And I know a lot of people who have disabilities are employed by companies that could not care less and are kind of like, that's not our problem, figure it out, which is terrible. And that should never happen. I've heard from people. I often get messages from viewers or just people who are in, the cochlear implant world or whatever it might be, telling me about their experiences at their workplace or their experiences in life, living with hearing loss. And it's really disheartening to see that not everybody has the support that they should be getting.
So you've won many awards, obviously Miss Pennsylvania. Do you remember or recall one of the awards that really touched you, that made you really happy to have won?
Oh, there's so many that I really feel honored to have received. Miss Pennsylvania was a huge honor, but it was something I worked very hard toward, and, training and dieting for the swimsuit portion. I hated I love carbs, so that was really hard for me. But, that was kind of something I worked towards, and it was a personal goal of mine, and I was very proud to have that title, and I made the most of my year and did the most that I could in that year to really make an impact. But aside from Miss Pennsylvania, I would say maybe the Yvonne Zanos Excellence in Media Award. That was actually, I have two. Okay, so the Yvonne Zanos, let me find the name. It was a long name. Yvonne Zanos, who's a former journalist of Pittsburgh. It was a few years, it was like 6 years ago I got this award. Okay, so there's an organization called Achieva in Pittsburgh, and they help individuals who live with disabilities, all types of disabilities. And I actually MC a couple of their events every year, and I'm very glad to be involved with the organization now. But they reached out to me initially to let me know that I had been selected for one of their awards of excellence, and that was the Yvonne Zanos Excellence in Media Award, I think it was called. And basically it's given each year to someone in the media who supports individuals who live with disabilities. And so it was my first year back in Pittsburgh from Erie, and they reached out to me and said, we love how you're an advocate for people with disabilities, and they're a phenomenal organization, Achieva. So I was very honored to receive that one for sure. And then the other one I was very proud of last year, and what I found out while I was on maternity leave, that I had won an Emmy Award for one of my newscasts that I was anchoring. It was breaking news coverage of really tragic day where there was a bad car accident involving a school van and a young girl died. And we had breaking news coverage through our noon newscast, and the newscast won an Emmy Award for excellence in news coverage. So, and that's a regional award across several states. So it was an honor to win that award too. And it's an honor to say that I've won an Emmy.
I think that your sensitivity, your empathy, and all of your life experiences and resilience have led you to where you are now and will lead you to many more awards. We are so grateful for you being here and for sharing everything that you have. I'm going to give it back to Michael right now. It's been an honor to be able to talk to you. Thank you.
So great. Thank you. No, it's an honor for me to be here. Truly, this is just a wonderful organization, and you are all so wonderful. So it was truly my honor.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Elena. And I want to say thank you again so much for, not only supporting this, but also doing it at this hour, because I know you get up at 2:30 in the morning to report to work as a news anchor. So I just want to say thank you again for joining us. And of course, we had this recorded, so we'll have even more people listening to your inspiring message. And of course, all of your wonderful responses to these questions that we received. So thank you again.
Absolutely. My honor.
All right, so to wrap this up, I'm going to play one last video performance to really end us on a high note. So this particular song is a fun one that we like to repeat each year. It was performed by the Regis University Choir, one of which those members is Maeve's daughter. And I always love this video. So we're going to play Joy to the World.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. Joy to the earth, the Savior reigns. Let us our songs employ. While fields and floods, rocks, hills and plains, repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. No more let sin and sorrow grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings flow, far as the curse is found, far as the curse is found, far as the curse is found. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love.
What a wonderful performance. I always